The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. This is Jennifer Schaus coming to you live in our Webinar Wednesday series. We host a webinar every Wednesday throughout the entire year at 12 o'clock and 12:30, and we cover various topics in federal government contracting. Our speakers are industry experts that include attorneys, accountants, and other consultants who have knowledge to share about government contracting. All the webinars are free. You can get a complimentary download either on our YouTube channel or on our website under the webinar and archive webinar sections. We don't take questions at the end, so if you do have questions for me after today's presentation, please contact me directly either by phone or email, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. A little bit about us: we are based in downtown Washington, D.C. and help both product and service companies with federal contracting. And those services include anything from proposal writing, contract administration, some of the certifications, contract vehicles, obviously including GSA schedules, which we're covering today. We do host events, seminars, training classes throughout the year. You can find those on our website under the events section. Some classes and conferences that we do have coming up next week. On Tuesday and Thursday, we're covering 2 GSA schedule classes. We've got some other classes in October and November, as well as construction conferences. My background is listed here on this slide, but more importantly, let's dig into today's topic, which is 8 ways to monetize your GSA schedule. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Quick agenda here. It's going to go through an overview of the GSA schedule. Then we'll dig into the 8 ways to monetize the schedule. I'll make some concluding remarks. And again, if you do have questions, we don't take questions at the end, just in the interest of time, so you can email or call us directly, and we'll be happy to help you. So quick overview here: GSA schedule, it's not required at all. Don't let anybody tell you that. It's simply a marketing tool. It's a pretty good marketing tool because GSA does a great job of marketing themselves. You just then need to find a way on how to market your particular schedule to your specific customer. It's only used about 10 to 15% of the time in federal government purchases. That still amounts to billions of dollars. But keep in mind, of the 20,000 companies that hold GSA schedules, about 63% of them, so more than half, have 0 sales. What does this mean? Either somebody sold them a schedule they don't need, or they had the build it and they will come mentality and nobody came. So it sometimes makes sense to do some market research up front before you decide to pursue the schedule. And then once you're on the schedule, you know that you've got a full pipeline of customers that have already indicated to you in advance that this is their preferred method of acquisition. Okay, so if you've gotten to that point where you've got a couple potential buyers that are in your pipeline, you've then decided to pursue the schedule, it's in your best interest, it's how your customers purchase. Now you want to find out how to use the schedule. So we're going to go through 8 ways. Number 1, you want to make sure that your price list is current and it's easy to read and easy to find. Seems pretty basic, but we find that many companies, once they get on the schedule, fail to list the GSA logo on their website. They don't have a separate section on their website for government purchases or even indicating the contract vehicles that they have. On GSA Advantage, which is the GSA website where both product and service companies' price lists can be found, that's gsaadvantage.gov. You want to make sure that you are listed there. The government buyers will go there to look for both product and services. And if your company name does not pop up, then it's going to be harder for them to find you. So make sure that you understand that that is how they sometimes search. And just like Amazon or eBay, you want to be showing up in those search results. Number 2, for product companies, you want to make sure, again, just like say an Amazon or eBay or Alibaba website, that you've got photos, the exact measurements, descriptions, the weight for shipping costs, colors, and any other options that your product may have. For service companies, keyword descriptions are going to work just like search engine optimization in Google searches or any other shopping website. So again, make sure that you've got some keywords in your text file, in your price list. That's going to help ensure that you do get bumped up to the top in these search queries that the government is conducting. Number 3, you want to make sure you've added the GSA logo, again, to your website, which I mentioned earlier. Back of the business card, it's helpful to have that there along with your schedule number and maybe your special item numbers. In all of your email signatures, it should always be easy to find you and contact you, whether it's adding your phone number, direct phone number, a link to your website, a link to your LinkedIn profile, including also your GSA schedule number, as well as any other contract vehicles that you have, maybe even your cage code. Your capabilities statement should be updated to reflect your GSA schedule number and SIN number, and all of your marketing literature. This is going to make you a more credible, trusted, and valued partner to both primes, but then just more credible to the government buyer, knowing that you've been vetted through GSA and they can then buy directly from you going through the schedule. Number 4, you've got to ensure that you've got multiple point of contacts listed in the GSA EBuy portal. This is the portal that sends out the RFP and RFQ notifications. Sometimes you may have somebody that's listed there, but that person might be out on maternity leave or vacation, or they are busy in a meeting and not checking their email. And oftentimes these RFPs and RFQs have a pretty quick turnaround. So if somebody misses it for a day, or like I said, they're out on vacation, you want to make sure that you've got alternate backups that are looking at these. Oftentimes you may get RFPs and RFQs that are not relevant to your special item number. Well, they're going to be relevant to your special item number, but perhaps not to your business. And you may have Susie Q from Department of Agriculture, or Department of Defense, or Department of Commerce that's using the GSA EBuy portal. Now, he or she is also going to be working on other solicitations. So you want to data mine these contacts, look for them at events and conferences and other events where you can network with these folks. But also just keep an eye out for other procurements that they may be working on. Number 5, I broke into 2 parts. 5A is going to be considering state and local government. So for those schedule holders that have both or one or the other, Schedule 84 and Schedule 70. Schedule 84 is security and law enforcement. Schedule 70 is for IT products and services. Those 2 schedules are open to what's called cooperative purchasing, which means that state and local governments have the ability to purchase from both of those schedules. A couple states, California has CMAS, the California Multiple Award Schedule, and Texas has a similar contract vehicle, Texas Multiple Award Schedule. They have both the ability to grandfather in your GSA schedule. There's a little bit of paperwork and some hoops you have to jump through, but if you are diversifying and selling into the state and local market, this can be very helpful. We've recently learned that the state of Florida is starting to purchase most of their technology services through the GSA schedule. That would be Schedule 70. So for anybody that's selling within the state of Florida currently, you probably want to think about moving towards the GSA schedule. 5B, which is the second half here, there are various entities that have the ability to purchase off of the GSA schedule. They may not do it all the time, but they do have the ability. So again, if you're diversifying, if you're selling to the Red Cross, the World Bank, IMF, IFC, United Nations, these folks, as well as some others, the IADB, which is the Inter-American Development Bank, National Cooperative Bank, and some others, do have the ability to purchase off of the schedule. So again, if you're diversifying, the federal government sometimes goes through peaks and valleys, depending upon the fiscal year, sequestration, continuing resolution, and other hiccups that they experience along the way. Can be good to look at both state and local and some of these multilateral banks and other entities. Number 6, I also broke into 2 parts. 6A, you want to partner and subcontract with companies within your schedule that hold the same SIN. Sometimes we are kind of short-sighted and look at some of these entities as being too competitive, but I think it would behoove you to sit down with some of the other companies on the same schedule and same SIN number to really find out what they're doing, look at their price list, which you'll have access to here on this screenshot, And look for the companies. It's the third column from the right that says socioeconomic. And I'm just going to go down the list here with the first 2 or 3. First one is going to say SVD. S is small, V is veteran-owned, D is disadvantaged. And you may also be a small business. Now this company here would probably benefit you to go to FPDS, plug in their name, find out what agencies they're contracting with, look at their price list, make sure that their prices are competitive and compatible with yours, look at their labor categories, those sort of things to find ideal teaming partners. The second one on the list here under the socioeconomic indicator says O. O means other. Other means large business. Large business means that they're required to parse out a certain percentage of their business to the small women-owned, veteran-owned, hub zone, 8As, and all the rest. So again, those could be entities that you could be a subcontractor to and find ways to form relationships with. 6B, as I mentioned, you probably want to look at these potential partners and find out what agencies they're plugged into. You can do that on FPDS, but more importantly, you probably want to make sure that their rates are not going to be lower than yours. If so, then you're probably going to be the one that takes the lead because they can come in as a partner or subcontractor to you. But the calc site on GSA will let you plug in a job title. So you probably want to plug in your job titles in advance of reaching out to these folks to find out, are your rates in sync with theirs? That'll give you the company, the labor category that you're looking at, the minimum education, minimum experience, as well as an associated hourly rate. So you want to be strategic and not just reach out to everybody, but be a little bit more calculated with who you are targeting. Number 7, most agencies will put out their acquisition forecast. If they don't, then you probably want to reach out to the OSDBUS, which is the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. With that, you can ask those folks to kind of push for an acquisition forecast, and then you can also segment those by which of those purchases are going through the GSA schedule. On our website, we've got a section called Resources. It's complimentary. If you scroll down there, you can find the budget forecast, and we'll be updating those with the new fiscal year. Number 8, you want to build relationships with the buyers and obviously steer them towards your schedule. And know the limits. Each SIN number, special item number within every schedule, will have thresholds that the buyers can purchase up to before they need to send it out for bid. So make sure that you know these limits so that way you're prepared in your discussions with the buyer. Sometimes they may not be aware of these things or they don't know the exact number. But if you give them a method to purchase from, which obviously is going to be the GSA schedule, you want to make sure that you understand how it works and how they can buy from you directly to both limit the competition or eliminate the competition. Sometimes it's by the language in the solicitation. Sometimes the solicitation is not necessary, and that's what I'm talking about here on this slide. So some concluding remarks as we wrap up here. As I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, the schedule is only a marketing tool. It is not required. And so you're obviously going to need to market your company through your marketing tool. Most successful GSA schedule holders, these are going to be the top probably 10 or 20% of the schedule holders that are doing 80% of the work. The reason they're doing 80% of the work is because they've done some reverse engineering in knowing that the entities that they are selling to prefer to purchase from the GSA schedule versus the build it and they will come. So again, you want to pursue the schedule because you know your customers purchase using this contract vehicle. It's one of many, many contract vehicles out there. Most agencies have their own contract vehicle. However, the advantage to the GSA schedule is that it opens you up to all federal agencies as well as state and local and some of the quasi entities that I mentioned. So if you do have questions about the GSA schedule, either getting onto the schedule, making modifications, audits, renewals, or any other processes, you can contact us directly at the phone number below or by sending us an email. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope to see you at another webinar in the future. Thank you.